Welcome back everyone to Formula 1 2020, round 9 of the season and the first of our brand new races in 2020. Welcome to the first ever Tuscan Grand Prix. If you don't quite know what the Tuscan Grand Prix is, for the first time in Formula 1 history, we are racing at Mugello, round 9 of the season, the halfway point, and it's not over yet. Russia is up next on the 27th of September. In a couple of weekends' time, we then head back to Germany at the Nürburgring before our second brand new race of the season, the Portuguese Grand Prix at Algarve, Portimao. It's then back to Italy for the third time in 2020. Imola returns to the calendar. The Turkish Grand Prix also returns in November, ending up the season in Bahrain, the Sakhir Grand Prix on a different layout to Bahrain, and finishing the season in December for the traditional season finale at Abu Dhabi. We can't do last season's result here at Mugello, but what we can do is last time out result. Round 8, the Italian Grand Prix, Monza, a modern classic. My goodness, what a Grand Prix, an emotional race. One of the first times tears has ever come to my eyes in a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Hamilton on pole, Bottas second, Sainz third. Could we see an outside shot and a midfield driver on the podium? Well, how about 3? Pierre Gasly for AlphaTauri, his first ever Formula 1 victory. Carlos Sainz just 4/10 of his first F1 victory. Lance Stroll, and with the other two drivers as well, picking up his second ever Formula 1 podium. A crazy, crazy Grand Prix. Fingers crossed we see a similar story this weekend. Before we jump into tyres, weather, news, whatever, first of all, let's take a look at the driver standings after that crazy race at Monza. Lewis Hamilton retains the exact same championship lead as he had 1 week ago. However, this time it's Valtteri Bottas who moves into second place, just 7 points in front of Max Verstappen. Lance Stroll is joint in fourth place with Lando Norris, both of them having picked up 1 podium so far this season. Stroll also picking up 2 fourth places, so is in fourth place overall. Alex Albon slips down to 6th after not scoring in Monza. Leclerc is down to 7th and will be hoping to have a special weekend, Ferrari celebrating their 1000th Grand Prix in Formula 1. After winning the Italian Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly is now into the top 10, 8th place overall, and is in front of Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo. Sergio Perez, we heard that gut-wrenching news yesterday. He's down in P11, 4 points in front of previous teammate Esteban Ocon. Sebastian Vettel, 13th, is really struggling this season. He's just 1 place in front of fellow German Nico Hülkenberg. Danny Kvyat is on 4, Giovinazzi on 2, Magnussen on 1, Raikkonen, Latifi, Grosjean and George Russell, who's not on the screen, all yet to score. And in your Constructors' Championship, Mercedes running away with it, over 100 points in front of Red Bull, whose closest challenger is McLaren, sat in 3rd. It's in Racing Point 4th, Renault in the top 5, Ferrari down in 6th, AlphaTauri 7th, but a lot closer after that win last time out. Alfa Romeo on 2, Haas on 1, Williams on 0. Your Formula 2 Championship currently looks like this, and since we last spoke, Dan Ticktum got his win taken away in the sprint race in Italy, meaning Callum Ilot's lead is slightly higher over Mick Schumacher in second place. Schwartzman, though, is only 9 points off the championship lead in 3rd. But also keep your eye on Yuki Tsunoda, Christian Lundgaard, Nikita Mazepin, Guan Yu Zhou, all of which I think are still in this championship hunt. Delatraz, Ticktum and Giotto round up your top 10. Before we jump into a very special hot lap, first of all, tyre choice. Formula 1 are playing it safe for the first ever race here at Mugello. The hardest compounds possible, C1 hard, C2 medium and C3 soft. Your weather this weekend is slightly bizarre. Very hot conditions indeed, 29, 30 and 31 degrees respectively on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. But on Friday and Saturday, a 51% chance of rain. Goodness me, it's just going to be one of the most crucial qualifyings of the season. tricky track to overtake, which we'll see in a hot lap in a moment, sprinkle in some rain as well, and we can have an absolute fire session on Saturday. Talking about fire, I think it's time we do our hot lap for the Formula 1 2020 Mugello Tuscan Grand Prix. Welcome everyone to your very special hot lap here at Mugello. Round 9 of the season. We're on board with Mitch Evans in the Formula E Gen 2 car. Project Cars 3, as Mugello is not on the 2020 Formula 1 game. Into turn 1, a lovely uphill right-hander. Cannot wait to see the cars flying through here on lap 1 of the Grand Prix. Turn 2, Luco, nice and tricky as it opens itself up into turn 3. Now this is one of the longest straights on the circuit as we head down to turn 4 and 5, which is very similar, almost identical to turns 2 and 3. A nice little switch to the left, switch to the right, open yourself out, not too wide. I'm sure track limits will be a very interesting point there. Through turn 6, downhill now and through to Valley at turn 7. Plenty of flowing corners, fantastic to see through qualifying, but still very difficult for Grand Prix racing and overtaking. Uphill once again for turn 8. Turn 9 also making sure you plant the power up the blind corner. You only then really see the circuit once again breaking into turn 10, almost the opposite of what we saw in sector 1. Through turn 11, making sure again you don't go too wide past that exit curbing. Only 3 corners to go now. Through turn 12, again downhill and braking almost blind on exit. Maybe opportunities for overtaking during the Grand Prix. Another really quick left-right, almost chicane-style corner of turn 13, and one more to go. A ridiculously long, once again downhill, turn 14. Crucial not to let go of the power too early, which I do on that lap. It's not my best lap, it's Project Cars 3, but that is your hot lap here at Mugello for the 2020 Tuscan Grand Prix. Heading on over then to the newsroom, plenty to talk about this week. Of course, we'd had plenty of stories in the build-up to this weekend's Grand Prix, a brand new circuit to the calendar. But we've got to start with yesterday's huge story. Sergio Perez will leave Racing Point at the end of the season. He put out a statement late last night, a real tearjerker for the neutral Formula 1 fans. He will no longer be racing for the team that will be known as Aston Martin from the beginning of next season, and currently has no plan B. This preview is always recorded yesterday, so on Wednesday evening, so there may have been an announcement who's going to replace him. Looks very likely it's going to be Sebastian Vettel, but as of this very moment, no news as of yet. This weekend, of course, is the 1000th Grand Prix in Ferrari's history, a huge achievement for the team that are struggling so much in 2020. And to mark this special occasion, they've got a brand new livery. Burgundy, I didn't expect that. It's also a gloss finish, so no matte Ferrari at this weekend's Grand Prix. I, for one, absolutely love it and would not mind if they used it for the rest of the season. It's a one-off livery. Don't expect it to be used, but hey, if they win, if they get some kind of good luck, we may just see it used more often. Williams have a new team principal. Simon Roberts replaces Claire and Frank Williams. The changes, of course, following last weekend's Italian Grand Prix. Roberts, who has previously spent over 10 years at McLaren, also spent time at Force India, moved to Williams at the beginning of 2020, and fingers crossed is the right man to push Williams in the right direction. And also, news broke just before last weekend's Grand Prix. Renault will no longer be called Renault from next season onwards. Alpine Formula 1 team is their brand new name. We're not quite sure on the correct enunciation of their name. Alpine seems to be the most popular choice at the moment. Alpine is also something that's been thrown around, and if you want to be really British, Alpine. All of them are fine, however, and most importantly, the team will remain the same. Same personnel, same Enstone factory, but potentially a brand new livery. It looks like we could have a real traditional French tricolour livery. Deep blue potentially a chrome blue, if you ask me, from some of those teaser imagery. White, red, could be a lot of fun, but certainly the yellow will be missed. And that is your lot from this week's newsroom, and we'll head on over to what is my favourite, or one of my favourite bits of the weekend. I say that a lot, but it's prediction time for the Tuscan Grand Prix. I went bold last week, but it turned out not bold enough. Doesn't matter how much you had a go at me in the comments, I was still, pretty much like everyone, absolutely miles off last weekend's result. But I've gone a bit more conservative this time around. Here is my prediction for the Tuscan Grand Prix. Qualifying, I've gone with Lewis Hamilton for pole position, Max Verstappen to be on the front row of the grid with Valtteri Bottas P3. I think this circuit could suit Red Bull quite nicely. So much so, I've gone with a Max Verstappen victory, Hamilton to be back on the podium in P2, and Alex Albon. I know he struggled last time out, but surely he's got to get this podium at some point in 2020, so why not at the Tuscan Grand Prix? Bottas P4 and Sergio Perez P5. And as always, if you want to be featured in tomorrow's video, here is your grid to follow for your chance to be featured. In qualifying, who's going to get pole position, who's going to join him on that front row of the grid, and who is the biggest shock? Grosjean into Q3, I hear someone saying. And on the race day, who is going to be the Grand Prix winner? Gasly maybe for a second time. Who's going to be on that podium? The first retirement, driver of the day, and best of the rest, which we are now kind of classifying as fourth place or anyone other than Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. It's kind of just make it up as you go. Best of the rest this season. Fantasy League then before we go, and a quick look at your weekend schedule. The Grosjean army, we're still going strong, still in the top 300, about 3,500 of you in the league now, and if you've not yet joined, don't worry, code is on the bottom of your screen. I've made a change, Ricciardo out, Norris in. I think Red Bull could do well this weekend, but I think Mercedes still the team to beat. And your weekend schedule screenshot at the ready looks like this. We've practice one, your first event of the weekend, 10 o'clock on Friday morning, and it's the same as all other European venues. The rest of it is the exact same as usual. Qualifying on Saturday at 1 o'clock, the feature race for Formula 2 a little bit later at 3:45, and on Sunday the sprint race at 10 past 10 in the morning for Formula 2, and the Big Daddy event Formula 1, the Tuscan Grand Prix, 10 past 2. And that is your lot for round 9 of the season, the Tuscan Grand Prix preview. As always, and if you are new, feel free to subscribe. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, really helps out the channel. Thank you guys very much for watching. Enjoy the weekend, and I hope to see you all in the next one.